Let's do this. Tekken 8. Jesus fucking Christ, these visual effects. Good lord.
Fight.
That's gameplay? God damn, dude, that's nice.
もう一人の自分に切られることになるんやからな。
Yakuza?
なあ、坂本龍馬さんよ。
Yakuza. Yeah, Yakuza. Oh, wow. Oh my god, it's the controller. Whoa, limited time. I'm so fucking off limited editions, dude. I'm so hardcore off limited editions. Going through that entire fucking COVID pandemic thing with the scalping bullshit, I'm just done.
Everyone, in your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you?
The narrative beats that they're hitting.
Fate only binds you if you let it.
Yep, I like that.
God of War Ragnarok comes to PS5 and PS4 on November 9th.
Remember that thing that I was talking about earlier where like visual spectacle is not what's required for a good game? I would argue that the majority of games that use visual spectacle nowadays don't actually use it to the point where it's that beneficial for the game overall. Because even if I'm playing a narrative-based game, I'm going to always prioritize the substance, the things that stand out in the game over the visuals. Like if your menuing is shit, if your gameplay is shit, if your narrative beats are shit, I don't give a fuck how good your visuals are. I think your game is just not that good or not that interesting, or it doesn't appeal to me, or I really don't want to buy it. But the reason I'm saying that is because there are a few games that I think use sound design and visual design that is up to date in terms of like bleeding edge or cutting edge or whatever you want to call it, right? To their benefit, as well as that game does, God of War Ragnarok and the previous God of War. That's quite good. If I had a PS5, I would definitely be getting that game. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a perfect example of exactly what I was talking about. The majority of developers spend so much time nowadays, AAA developers at least, not indies, but they spend so much time nowadays making sure that engine is working perfectly and they're doing all these cool, unique visual effects, and then like their game, the actual gameplay, the raw mechanics, the feel, it lags behind, and it's infuriating, dude. It's fucking, it's maddening because you get these games that take way longer to release, and visually, whoa, they're a huge step up. Yeah, wow, those lights, they're fucking great. Oh my god, the locales, big, sprawling, expansive, except there's nothing to fucking do in them. The gameplay hasn't evolved that much. There's maybe one or two fucking like really meaningful quality of life features. And overall, it's just games that are not as good as they could be less frequently. That's a large part of the reason why I've been so anti-console as of lately. Like, even though I'm a hardcore Nintendo fanboy in my heart, you know, I love Zelda, I love Mario, I love Splatoon, I love all of the fucking first party and second party franchises and third party franchises that come out of Nintendo. In terms of like release schedule and in terms of quality of the games, they haven't been meeting up to my standards as of late. Mind you, Splatoon 3 has been pretty good in a lot of aspects, but needs a bit more. Breath of the Wild as a game, fucking fantastic, but it's like, it takes so long to develop that it like there's long periods of craving for me, at least. Mario Odyssey, great game, didn't really sit well for me. But then you look at like other consoles where it's like, well, what first party titles are you bringing to the table? You have God of War Ragnarok. That's a finally, guys, it finally fucking happened. PS5 has a fucking game.
One game.
But like, other than that, I don't give a single fuck about anything else the PS5 is offering that I couldn't just get on PC. Oh wow, Final Fantasy, I'm just gonna buy that on PC. Oh wow, fucking Spider-Man, I don't care. Can't make good gameplay if the engine breaks literally every 2 seconds? Yeah, but like, how complex does the engine need to be quite frank? There aren't that many big publishers that are striking that good of a balance nowadays, I feel. There are definitely some, like Capcom. Woo! Fuck! Capcom has been popping off lately. in terms of Resident Evil, in terms of Mega Man. Not that was a fucking lie that I just said that I didn't mean to fucking say. That just came out. I wanted to believe it, so I just said it. In terms of Monster Hunter, in terms of Resident Evil, they've been popping the fuck off. In terms of Street Fighter, oh fuck, 4 was okay, 5 wasn't great, 6 is looking pretty snazzy. And in terms of release schedule, they're really not that bad with that. But it's like they're not going for like the tippity top fucking hardcore, oh my god, I'm using every single fucking aspect of the technology that I possibly fucking can. No, they're taking big marginal steps and then adding on top of that later with like a balance of visual glamour. They went from fucking Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate to World, and like that's a big fucking step. But it was like Monster Hunter World wasn't the biggest step they could have possibly taken. They could have taken like 4 more fucking years, added 17,000 more shaders, 15 billion more textures, fucking, 3 new engines, 6 consoles. Like they could have taken so much more time, but it wouldn't have made the game any fucking better. They settled for a very, very big improvement, then added on top of that, added some fucking DLC later, and now Monster Hunter Iceborne is arguably the best fucking game in the series. Fucking move over to Monster Hunter Rise, visual downgrade, gameplay upgrade, fucking, and the ball keeps fucking rolling, In general, the gaming industry as a whole doesn't do that nearly as well now. That's what pisses me off. The culture suffers because of it. The culture of these legendary games, great fucking example. Fantastic fucking example. Halo Infinite. Fucking garbage right now. Oh my god, you don't have local co-op in fucking Halo? Are you kidding me? Oh, but no, it's so pretty. It's so fucking pretty. Released a year earlier than it should have been. No fucking Forge, no local co-op. Fucking online bugs out the ass. Stupid fucking seasonal content. Horrible games as a service model. Just fucking terrible. Halo is dead in my eyes. Overwatch. Fucking, don't get me wrong, I love Overwatch 1 to death. It has tons of problems. The release schedule suffered a ton because of Blizzard's mismanagement, and because they probably wanted to monetize it heavier. You took this game franchise that was popping the fuck off, and you just killed a lot of its momentum. I don't give a single fuck about Call of Duty. No, the visual elements literally always get better, but the gameplay has been like, it has gotten better. I will not say it hasn't gotten better, but like the improvements are so incremental that I just don't give a fuck anymore. Battlefield, dead in the fucking water. The culture of gaming has just been severely maimed by focusing on aspects that really don't benefit the player. And I don't like that. It makes me sad, Or the fact that CODs are nearly 200 fucking gigabytes is fucking stupid. Exactly. Fantastic fucking point. Back when there was limitations on how large of storage you could have, you needed to be more creative with how you use storage mediums. You needed to have knowledge of how to partition data so that you could save space on a disk, or you needed to reuse assets in a creative way, like maybe a cloud and a bush are the same fucking texture, one's green, one's white, shit like that. But nowadays optimization is dog shit ass garbage, because we like having a 2 terabyte drive in your computer really isn't all that uncommon. But at the same time, it's like, I have a GTX 1080, I have an 8-core CPU with 16 threads, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, but this game runs like shit because it's optimized terribly. Huge companies are so comfortable with resting on their laurels and releasing these fucking gigantic games that could be cut down like probably by half or more in total size if they gave a single fuck about optimization. But it's not about anything other than like releasing something that the gamer expects and then nothing else. You don't improve the experience overall if it doesn't bring you any more profit margin. It's just money, money, money. It's so fucking corporate. The artistry that went into balancing graphics and gameplay, as well as optimizing aspects of an engine, optimizing storage, really taking care of multiplayer aspects, not just trying to cram as many new things, new buzzwords, and new fucking monetization schemes into a game as possible. It's gone, majoritively, because the people who actually care about that get treated like shit. And because even though the culture as a whole may not like it, the people who pay more The people who are lining these companies' pockets more don't give a fuck and they'll pay for anything. It fucking sucks. I hate it. It's so rare for a game to come out nowadays where I'm just wholly realistically just like, yeah, man, I can't wait to fucking dig into that. Elden Ring did the same thing, authorized a little dog shit and ruined the game for me. Exactly. Elden Ring is a fucking fantastic game. Elden Ring is a fucking amazing game. It is one of the only games that has come out in recent memory that I have been legitimately excited about. Like hardcore, like childlike wonder. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home and play Elden Ring after my shift type of deal, you know? But on PS4, it's not optimized that great. Let's be real. It runs, but it like, that's it, you know? And then on PC, it was dog shit. It was dog shit for like the first 2 months. That fucking sucked. Nowadays, it's a lot better, but it still sucks. But like, hey, at least that game got fixed. Cold War is still fucking like 300 gigs. Who gives a shit, I guess. They also increased the price of the fucking PS5. Yeah, Sony's dead set on wanting to make a profit on consoles, even if it's at the detriment of the consumer. Because if you didn't know, generally consoles are sold at a profit loss because they're really hard to manufacture, and I understand that. But like, the goal is to get someone to buy a console and then buy games within a system. And I would argue that if that's not working for you anymore, well, you need to fucking fix the ecosystem. But that's just me. This sort of laziness isn't only inherent to the gaming industry. If we're being real, it applies to so many fucking aspects of life, especially if you live in the United States like moi, you know? But it's like, it's so saddening to have an aspect of your life that you care so much about, like gaming. Something that was like a beacon, a fucking shining beacon back when you were a kid. Fucking glorious. Oh my God, there's so many good games and there's competition and fucking new IPs and all the multiplayer scene is really popping off and competitive aspects are so cool. And oh my God, I fucking love being a gamer. Go to what it is now. The culture has gotten significantly worse because of decisions made by the bigwigs in charge of the fucking corporations and the fucking like aggregation of smaller companies and fucking just the fact that we're moving towards publishers having like 15 billion different smaller companies under them, the price we're paying for convenience, the lack of fucking actual personal stories to tell, the lack of interesting gameplay mechanics, and just the art form is not as good in general. The art form is not as good, and I hate that. Makes me sad. But again, it does at the very least make games that come out and did take a shit ton of time and are actually kind of worth it, like it seems God of War Ragnarok is going to be, like Elden Ring, except for the optimization, obviously, like hopefully Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. I can't fucking wait for that game. It makes those games stand out that much more. And it also makes it so that the gaming space as a whole is more open to indie games. That's good. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. This sort of laziness, this sort of greed that permeates just the world right now. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it.